Hi, this is Dirk from Boris VFX. Earlier this evening, I responded to a post on the Avid forum from John Epton, who was trying to do some color correction using Boris Continuum Complete in Media Composer 6. And he writes, I have a person sitting in front of a painted white door. I want to change the color of the door, and retaining the detail of that area of the image. I responded pointing out the PixelChooser, which is sort of a matting and masking tool built into many of the Boris Continuum Complete effects, and suggested possibly using BCC Colorize to do that. And I got John to send, these are just two JPEGs that he emailed me, samples of the footage he's trying to work with here. So here's the guy in front of the door. And first let me just show you the end result of what I did. So I just threw it on there. You might have seen it change already if you look at the color of the door and the contrast of the door. If I hit this bypass button. Another way of comparing is this compare mode. So you can see that, or this choice gives you like the wipe bar, which is a really useful way of looking at, when you're creating sort of a matte or a mask like this, you're always toggling things on and off to try and look and see where your eye sees some kind of a change to make sure you're not, creating a key in an area where you don't want to be. So that, this was the end result. I did two of them, and this one is the one I like better. So here's the actual Colorize controls. So, this allows you to define a gradient. It'll map that gradient across your image. In this case, we're just using, color 1 and color 6 are always enabled. And color 1 is black. Color 6 I made sort of an off-white, pale yellow. And then color 5 I enabled and made a more saturated yellow. And the whole thing actually is mixed to original, 80%. I wanted it to be a very subtle effect, and so this is without any effect. This is the full effect. See how bright yellow that is? And then this is, I thought 80% or 75% was kind of what I was looking for. So this is, not mixed to original, and this is with PixelChooser turned off. So that was actually the Colorize effect that I made. And then, using PixelChooser and mix to original, this is the end result. And PixelChooser allows you to view your matte, as a black and white grayscale. Also this mask, unchosen pixels. This is really useful, obviously, to see if you really want to see, what the image is while you're tweaking the matte. So that's the final effect in this case. And here is the other shot. I kind of had to take a different approach with this one. It wasn't quite as easy to isolate the door color in this shot. But you'll see here if I bypass that the doors are kind of looking, warmer, more like that cream color. And again, if I kind of wipe across, you see. In this case, there's a little bit more of that effect getting on the brick and even on the on this girl's hair, but it ends up just kind of looking like sunlight. So maybe it would be actually an acceptable result. And the matte on this one, I end up using a lightness as the attribute, and mask unchosen. And so in the other one, it's a threshold I was using, but in this case, it's levels, so you actually can adjust, like, the high and low end of that. But this was what I ended up finding to be the sort of most convincing and subtle effect in that. Going back to this one, just to give you an idea, I just deleted that effect. Let's apply a default Colorize effect and go into effects mode. Let me make this that sort of pale yellow. And I think I did this one right, and it was kind of a more darker, more saturated. And then disable 3, and I enabled 5. And then I think I used this squeeze parameter actually to kind of adjust the gradient until I was getting a little more detail in that door, not really caring what this looked like because I was planning on masking it out or matting it out. So, PixelChooser on, and there's two aspects of the PixelChooser: the region, which I'm not even going to touch on just now in this movie, and then the matte. So, there's a lot of ways you could choose Luma. I could tell right away that Luma was not going to work in this case. So this is adjusting, a Luma threshold. You can see it's really hard to separate the shirt and the door using Luma. And, I could even use levels where I can adjust, high and low, and it's not going to work. Here's what I did. I chose Chroma Diff, and let's just say View Matte Source so that I know I'm not seeing any of the effect here. The matte source could be another layer, actually. In this case, it's the filter layer, or the layer that the effect is applied to. And so you see when I chose Chroma Diff, this little color chip appeared. And so I'm going to take a little bit of that door color back there and switch it back to, let's say, Mask Unchosen Pixels. So nothing's chosen right now. From that, I can tell. So this is the threshold. Another thing that happens is dragging these sliders is not very precise. So what you often end up wanting to do is, when you have a slider selected here, you can use the arrow up and down. We'll move a tenth, of a value, and then shift arrow up and down. We'll move it, increase or decrease it by a whole number value. So let's just leave the threshold for there now, and choke. Oh, actually, you know what I want to do before I choke? Because this is, the red area is the unchosen pixels. I want to invert that, because in this case, the door is what I want to choose. So, you can see there, I'm already kind of getting something that looks like it could be useful. And so I'm just adjusting. That was just basically, matte softness I reduced. We adjusted the threshold, and then I'm giving it a little bit of choke. So that's pretty good. I mean, that's already, I think, going to be a convincing effect. It was something like that. I don't remember the precise parameters, but so if I turn it on, okay, that's pretty good. And of course, you can make it a more subtle effect by doing this. And so there, you can drag this on the screen or do this. So there's, my white door turned into more of a cream colored door without affecting, anything else, not the brick or the shirt or the face or anything like that. So that is a quick look at how to use the PixelChooser matte.